everyone, this is Aiko, and in this video we're going to review this Bilena liquid foundation in the shade of Beige. So this is from DAISO and it cost 100 Japanese yen without the tax. So I already used this several times before making this video. I tried to use different kinds of foundation applicator to see what's the best applicator to use with this product, and I already discovered the best one. Honestly, this one is really hard to put on the face because the texture is not really that liquidy. It's very creamy and almost similar to a mousse foundation. It may differ from person to person, but on my personal experience, using this with a wet puff is the best. And also apply a moisturizer before using this because it is really hard to blend on the face. So let me show you what it looks like without a moisturizer. Here on my face. As you can see, it does not have good coverage and it created patches. And this one really dries up fast, so it's really better to use a moisturizer under it so that you will have more time to blend the foundation all over your face. So I'm going to remove this and then I will put on a moisturizer. So the moisturizer that I'm going to use is an aloe vera moisturizer. So let me show you how this liquid foundation looks like when I applied this with my fingers. As you can see, it creates, what do you call that? It creates tiny particles. I don't know if you can see, but it creates those annoying tiny particles. And so this is just a one layer of the foundation. So using fingers on applying this is not good. And as you've seen, the coverage is not great. There's like no difference at all. So next I'm going to try this foundation brush from DAISO and see if this one will do good. But it's also hard to blend. So I cannot even out my foundation with this brush. Probably using a brush is much better than using your fingers, but the coverage it gives is still not good and it creates patches and streaks. I'm going to erase again. And this time I will try to use a silicone sponge, which I haven't tried before. Just this size. As you can see, the coverage is much better with this silicone sponge. I have to add more. But this one is also patchy and it also creates the tiny particles. It's already hard to even out. So the coverage is good, but it's super patchy. So using a silicone sponge is also not good. I don't know if you can see, but there are a lot of tiny particles coming out. So I'm going to use this foundation brush. So I can see that this one is much better than the other first three, but this is still hard to blend. Using this one is also patchy, but it also gave a good coverage. But as you can see, there's also tiny particles coming out while you are blending. So now I'm going to use a sponge or a puff. So this liquid foundation is easier to apply using this puff. And it becomes buildable even though I apply more. It doesn't create the tiny particles that I've experienced with the other applicators. But the liquid foundation is still hard to even out. So the foundation is still patchy, but there are now less. So now I'm going to try spraying water on my puff. Also, with this method, a little goes a long way and it looks very flawless. There are no patchiness and the foundation evenly spread out. So this foundation became wearable and I can put another layer with this method. So even though I put on another layer, there is still no patchiness and no tiny particles and more coverage. And it's also very easy to blend out. So there. So you can see the difference. This side looks good, but the coverage is still not that good. You'll probably have to apply concealer, but this foundation became wearable. And I have already tried the longevity of this before, so I'm going to show you how long this foundation goes. Will not prevent the oil coming out on your face, but this foundation will look even more good with a CC cream under it and a powder over it. And now I'm going to show you how this liquid foundation looks like with a moisturizer on, a CC cream on, and then a powder on top of it. So there, as you can see, the coverage is really much better now, and even though the foundation is quite dark to my skin, the CC cream and the powder help to lighten up the liquid foundation. The liquid foundation became flawless. So, with the full makeup on, the foundation doesn't look like cheap at all. You won't really notice that I used a very cheap liquid foundation. But the shade is still dark, so that's the only problem for now. And probably I will oil up after a few hours, so I have to blot. But I don't have to retouch or put any powder on. It won't create patches and it will stay good. So that's it for the review and experimentation on this liquid foundation of Bilena, and see you soon on my next videos. And you can also read this review on my blog. I will put the link on the description box below, and see you soon on my next videos. Bye bye.